War. War never changes. Since the dawn of man, when tribes beat each other to death over necessities, the will to power has been the driving force of mankind. When the great fires of humanity's ambition ravaged the earth, it was not our doing, for the bloodiest chapter of human history had only begun. Britain was not spared the hellfire, and London, a monument to mankind's ambition, was returned to the state of nature. Those who emerged from the ashes did so from a network of underground bunkers known as Pindar stations. And so it was that the embers of civilization would ignite once again. Over a century later, through the military might of the Tommies, an aristocratic parliament continues to give orders. But few are still listening. In the Tower Hamlets, the fifth column rises. Training drums beat and uniforms march, all in the name of their dear leader, Eve Varney. Across the Thames, in the pastures of Richmond, a great army gathers strength. Styled on the Camelot knights of days past, they're headed once more unto the breach. For there are whispers of angels beneath this hallowed land, a curtain of illusion and intrigue, a puppeteer behind the scene. Only one thing is certain. Those who take the road to Westminster will be forever changed. Because in mankind's pursuit of power, there is no price too high, no life too valuable, and no ideal too sacred. Because war never changes.
Mind the gap. Mind the gap. Stand clear of the doors, please.
Subject has been performing adequately. No spikes in visuals, nothing unusual.
Perfectly usual.
Quiet. Smythe will be pleased.
How are they in appearance?
Uncertain. Perhaps we should take a closer examination.
And that's the prologue to Fallout London. We're put into the character creator. I'm not going to create anything special, but so in that brief prologue, they kind of gave us an introduction to all the factions in the game, and it looks like we're in like captivity in a vat in an angel facility, because in the intro, the slide showing the angels, there were two vats that look like this. And they also mentioned the Camelot Knights, which looked to be a faction around, Arthur and the Round Table of Knights. And they mentioned the fifth column. So I guess we'll see what all the factions are about eventually. But I'm not gonna do much with my character. I'm just gonna change the hair. And maybe change like the build of my character, and that's probably gonna be it. I'm not gonna edit the face or anything like that, just because we're not gonna be looking at it for that much. And that looks good. All right, let's get into this.
Excellent. A rapid progress is being made, and with zero anomalies.
Of course. Now, what about their physical and mental development?
Alright, and now we can put in our character's name, which I'm just gonna name Sir Share, of course. And we got our special stats. I'm just gonna Alright, that looks pretty average. I'm not going to take any of the traits just because I want to cover, you know, the basic stuff in the game. You know, maybe eventually I'll cover that stuff, but...
Gentlemen, I trust everything is going well.
Tremendously so. In fact, it may be our best work yet.
Good. The subject looks ready for conditioning. Within a week or so, we can wrap up Phase 1.
Thank you, sir. I'll set Phase 1 on autopilot.
See that it's done.
Seems to be rousing a bit.
Not to worry. Let's put them back under.
So some people broke in and blew open the wall and massacred the scientists. Some of the debris damaged our the glass on our vat. Alright. Let's punch it open. Alright, we can see what some of these scientists had. Doesn't look like anyone alive is around. Gonna loot some of this stuff. You know, either to use or to sell later on. And we can explore this room a little bit. Human fingers, jeez. There's a head in a jar over here. I'm just gonna loot like everything. Excalibur, that's a new drug. Jar of brown liquid. Don't want to know what's in there. There's some body bags. So we can kind of get the idea that these angel guys aren't exactly the most moral of people. But after looking around, let's see where these guys broke in from. So ladder, and the hatch is blocked by the pipes. Alright, but let's move on. Nope, all of these are actual containers. Alright. Broken turrets. Oh. Someone's fighting over there, that's for sure. Let's see in here. That looks like the way forward, so I'm gonna go and explore this other area. Blue plastic buckets. Just really gonna grab like all of this for you know, like modding weapons or building up. So skim the milk. And tea packs. I'm sure you can craft some tea, you know, considering it's London. Over here. Okay, a GOG t-shirt, I guess, because I installed it on GOG. And, yeah, there's some, like, game credits in there. Alright. So it looks like that's all this room is. Alright, let's move further in, or try to get out of this place, I guess. They're little rats. Okay. Oops, some ammo. Police sunglasses. Alright, first terminal, let's see. Looks like the first entry is corrupted. It's message. No idea what the second word's supposed to be. Unauthorized content. Yeah, I've redacted and corrupted your file. Okay. Oh, do not write out mission statements. This was covered in orientation. S. Okay, so that's what it was. It was a mission statement. Alright, log entry 1. The troopers have secured us a batch of the rad shrew for testing. I would have preferred working with rad rats, but it seems they were chased off by their counterparts. Judging by the size of the rad shrews in London Bridge Station, I don't entirely blame them. Okay, so it looks like they couldn't get the rad rats they wanted, and instead replaced them with rad shrews to do testing. And that's what are in the cages that we just saw. Alright, log entry 2. Testing on the capture rad shrews is going well. Multiple have died, but the remaining ones are stronger than ever. I'm especially proud of the one we affectionately refer to as Big Dave. I'm now going to move us on to the next stage of development, which will introduce more vitamins into their diet. We'll also simultaneously reduce their feed to see how they cope. I predict a lot of them will die, so we better get the nets ready to capture some more. Log entry 3. Smythe should be content with the results. Progress has been made, and exciting new things have been discovered. Not only did the rad shrews surpass expectations, but some of the results correlated with our prize subjects next door. Utterly fabulous to see it all coming together. With any luck, Smythe will visit the laboratory soon and see our progress. Log entry. The rad shrew. A small carnivorous mammal. The rad shrew seems to have mutated from its much smaller counterpart, the common shrew. Unlike the common shrew, which was insectivorous, its evolution along the food chain now permits it to hunt much larger prey. The rad shrew has tiny eyes and a large nose, giving it a keen sense of smell. Rad shrews snuffle through the undergrowth for their prey and can be found in most habitats, but prefer dirt flooring, woodland, and grassland, active by day and night. They are very territorial and aggressive for their size, and can sometimes be heard fighting. Their high-pitched squeaks particularly noticeable during the summer. Most of the rad shrews have mutated, losing most of their fur, and have grown sizable front teeth. Where hair remains, these are thin. Tiny hairs that in low light allow the rad shrews to navigate through touch rather than sight. Protruding front teeth and bulky masseter and temporalis muscles have greatly increased its biting power, perfect for tearing flesh from carcasses or defending itself from larger predators. The rad shrew is fast, reaching speeds of 24 kilometers per hour, and with large hip extensor muscles, it can change direction in quick and unpredictable ways, often scavenging with the rest of its horde. It can be difficult to single out any one individual. Alright, and let's reset the door mechanisms. It reset all of the doors, including the doors to the cages of the rad shrews that are hostile to those inside. After that's dealt with, we can continue through the corridor that opened, after looting everything in sight. We open the door to a room where it looks like Angel was doing experiments on the Pip-Boy from America. We see 2 Pip-Boys and then a strange device in the middle. Accessing the one on the right, we see Diagnostic Test 12. There's not much to read on this entry. It looks like they were just running diagnostics on the Pip-Boys. The next entry reads, Data Mine Results. Pip-OS supports user health notifications, munitions monitoring, VATS tracking, and audio playback. Additionally, it integrates with the onboard computers of PowerArmor, allowing a user to access their Pip-Boy from within the PowerArmor via HUD-like on-visor display. Prompt. Further data mine results require imperative to discover what VATS is. Discover how integration with PowerArmor works. Perhaps it may correctly power the few remaining antiques in London. There's another data mined results entry, and it says, Pip-OS supports the VATS or Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System mechanic. When using VATS against a humanoid enemy, 7 different areas can be targeted. The head, torso, left arm, right arm, currently held weapon, left leg, and right leg. However, there may be other points available when facing off non-human humanoid creatures, e.g. robot combat inhibitors, antenna. When targeting a part, the screen displays a percentage of how likely the attack will hit the targeted area based on distance from the target, visibility of the targeted body part, and combat skill. Further data mine results required. VAT seems to be an advanced technology, combat technology, whose developmental origin seems to have been lost to time. Despite this, the basic components to the system seem to be transferable into the reverse engineered device. And then a corrupted file, which is unreadable. So it seems that these angel scientists were breaking down the Pip-Boy mechanics, and they're putting it into this device in the middle here. I guess as a way of the developers to explain why the player can still use VATS and all of that good stuff, despite not having a Pip-Boy. Like on the other Pip-Boy, there's a diagnostic test that doesn't really tell us much. This Pip-Boy's data mined results are about the special stats. I'm not going to go through each one because they're pretty self-explanatory and everyone really knows them. You know, it's strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. So that's also explaining, you know, how the special stats fit into to do with level up and your character creation at the start. They do right after, however. This system seems a fantastic way to register the user's abilities and keep track of progression throughout life. This far beyond anything the Ministry of Information could invent. This system can easily be transferred into the new device, and it is highly recommended that we do so. The other 3 entries on this Pip-Boy are all corrupted, so nothing to see there. Moving on, we can pick up the device in the middle and see a cool little startup animation. So we can see that it's functionally the same as the Pip-Boy. And we can get a look at how big the map is. It's a pretty impressive size. And once we close the Attaboy, we get the utility belt, which was on the platform above the Attaboy. Going in third person, we can see that the utility belt is for the Attaboy to rest on. Moving on, we get to a door that can be opened with the Attaboy. And this also has a unique animation. And now it seems to be a straight shot to get out of this place. You see some dead scientists strewn about. We also see broken turrets. So, the invaders definitely came through this part.
Got no power. The bloody thing won't budge. You ain't nothing, Johnny. You're more useless than a fucking clock. Winston, you have a go.
You got it, boss. Yeah, no power. I can reroute it from the main network. But...
What the fuck's that on the camera? Right outside, look. Ain't they one of the floaters? I don't give a fuck. Just get us out of here. They'll have to find their own way.
Rerouting to emergency power.
Onwards and upwards.
Quest marker points us to a torch on the ground that we can pick up, and it can be our de facto flashlight for the game. Going through a hole in the wall in the next room, we reach a corridor with a corpse, and then we get put into this hallway with an inaccessible door and a shadowy figure behind some glass.
Where are you going? I doubt you'll make it far, someone such as yourself. You were more useful as a lab rat. But alas, it seems I'm not long for this world. It's a shame, really. There was so much I wanted to do. Off you go, then. Be seeing you.
And just like that, the veil closes, and supposedly the mysterious figure dies? I mean, he says he's not long for this world, so I assume he probably died. But after looting some more stuff, we can unlock this door first. There's not much in here except for a bunch of stuff to loot. It looks like it might have been Smythe's office. I couldn't find any notes in here. Maybe I overlooked something, but yeah, can't really find anything to do with who used this room or whatever. Now though, we can get in the elevator and hopefully get out of this wretched place.
You are quite the wayfarer, aren't you? Escaping all that hubbub. With all you've been through, I'm impressed. It seems I neglected to introduce myself. Very unprofessional of me. I'm Mr. Smythe. And you? Well, it doesn't matter who you are. Now, I'm sure you have many questions, and perhaps someday I'll answer them. But for now, wayfarer, let's not stand on parade. Since I'm all for giving one a sporting chance, I've unlocked the doors. Go. Stay safe, and remember, mind the gap.
Alright, so I guess Smythe didn't die, assuming that he was the scientist behind the glass. And this place gives huge Bioshock vibes. We escaped the facility, and now we're in another building connected to it. Moving over to the right, we see a receptionist desk with a terminal on it. The Shard, a vertical city. Staff only. First entry, welcome to the Shard. Management reminder, subject, welcome to the Shard. Attention all staff, welcome to the Shard. London's premier luxury hotel and residence. We extend our warmest greetings to all guests arriving during this tumultuous time. Rest assured, your comfort and safety are our top priority. Please enjoy your stay, and do not hesitate to contact our concierge for any assistance you may require. Thank you for your cooperation. Best regards, the Shard Management. Second entry, throw the peasants out. Attention all staff. In light of the ongoing resource war and heightened security measures, it is imperative that we maintain strict access protocols. Please remember that individuals of lower standards or class are not permitted entry into the building under any circumstance. Report any breaches immediately to security personnel. Thank you for your cooperation. Best regards, the Shard Management. Third entry, maintenance update. Attention all staff. We are experiencing minor issues with plumbing in several guest rooms on the 12th floor. Maintenance has been informed and is currently addressing the situation. Guests affected have been relocated as per protocol. This needs to be fixed within the week, or you can find yourselves another job. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Best regards, the Shard Management. Fourth and final entry, don't let the mice in. Attention all staff. As we continue our valiant defense against unexpected visitors and mice, let's ensure our hotel remains impenetrable. Keep the access points to the Shard locked tighter than a jar of war mice, and report any suspicious characters, human or mouse, pronto. Thank you for your cooperation. Best regards, the Shard Management. With the mention of the resource war and the sad state of affairs we find the place in, we can come to the conclusion that all these entries were pre-war. What was once a grand and luxurious hotel for the rich and wealthy of London is now abandoned and destroyed, and only houses a now destroyed Angel Laboratory underneath. We can take the elevator up to the 12th floor that had a rat problem pre-war. And as it turns out, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Even after 200 years in nuclear hellfire, the 12th floor still has a rat problem. Fighting past the rats, we come to a door that can be forced open if you have a high enough strength stat. There's no bits of lore in here or any notes or anything. Just some extra loot for if you put points into your strength stat at the start of the game. Moving on, down the hallway we find a locked door that can be pick-locked open. Opening the door, it reveals a balcony with a corpse hanging over the side and a note. The note reads, "Do it." And of course we can infer that this means jump. Yeah, that looks like a survivable drop, right? So let's do it. Well, I can't say that was unexpected. Reloading an old save, we can knock the skeleton off the balcony, and then run back to the elevator to go back down and through the door that gets us out of this place. Opening the door, we are faced with two little propaganda like posters on boards. One says, in the event of a nuclear attack, take shelter in your nearest underground station. And the other one is just a generic protect and survive. Moving on, heading further in, we find more rad trues and see a lot of the foundation is collapsed. We also see corpses all around that are bloodied, indicating that these people did not die a long time ago, and these rad trues were probably feasting on their corpses. Picking up this book permanently marks Trafalgar Square on our map, which I assume is a location we will explore later on in the game. On our right, we see various ticket machines, which is the way forward, but to our left, we see various shopping centers. The first one is totally ruined. Can't make out much of what it was pre-war. We find a medical container, so it might have been some type of pharmacy. But beyond that, who knows? The next one is a little bar. There's also not much here other than some consumables and props that you'd expect to find in a bar. The next and final store is a convenience store, and we're surprised by a rad shrew when we enter it. There's not much here other than tin cans, some cakes for some reason, some other sweets, and also some pumpkins. As most of you know, the bombs were dropped a few days before Halloween in Fallout. Heading towards the ticket machines, we can use one that is operational, and we can tell it's operational by the glowing red light. Using a ticket and going through the ticket machine, we get to a new area of the train station. We see a path going up, but before going up, we're going to explore around the area a little bit. We can unlock a Novus locked door and enter this little booth with the skeleton of a former employee. To our right, there's a safe with an advanced lock. We find a few tickets in the counter, and that's about it. We discover a preservation shelter with corpses strewn about all outside of it. Unlocking the advanced lock on the shelter, we discover a dead soldier inside. There's a note laying beside him that reads, "Survivor's guilt. I can't believe I locked all those people out. I'm a coward. I didn't sign up to serve for Queen and country, only..." And the note's torn, so we can't really make out what those words say. But it says something than those I swore to protect. I assume it's some form of mess over or something like that. The next page reads, "I guess it's only right that those I failed are now holding the door shut, forcing me to my own fate. Let me out." Some little morbid pre-war, or I guess right after the war, lore. We also find the service rifle, which is my favorite gun of the game, and also a combat helmet. In the back area, we find a little help desk with the skeleton of an employee from pre-war, probably. There's not much here other than some miscellaneous loot, just some tea bags and some tickets, which we'll find out later is actually the currency in post-war London. After we're done exploring, though, we can head up the escalator and leave the station. Now we're in the London open world, or almost. We can view a little map of the underground stations and see that, not surprisingly, all of them are out of service. So, seeing no other way forward and having an arrow point us towards the train, let's go through the train.
Mind the gap. Doors closing.
Whoa! And we're off. And the train starts moving. We can look out the windows and see bits of London as we drive past it, including this creepy mannequin display that I only saw while editing this video.
This is the London Overground service for Bromley. This train service terminates at Bromley. You can expect delays and revisions to the time.
Looking forward, it looks like we're going into a solid wall.
On the track.
That did not sound good. Sound like bricks crumbling, but a very nice opening title screen, I gotta say. And yeah, so the train did crash. Nope. And we get a pop-up that says Lab Rat. Whatever those scientists did to you, it took its toll on your body. Until you find a cure for this ailment, you'll take 30% more damage in combat. Further investigation into your origins may lead you to the remedy. We get another one called Railway Spine. That crash left you rattled, and it'll take more than a stim pack to fix this kind of damage. Until you seek out a medical professional, you will deal 30% less damage in combat. Jeez, man. We're messed up. But with that, we complete Broken Angel and start On the Mend. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. I plan to make this a reoccurring series where we explore the entirety of the game, the lore, the quests, the factions, the characters. So if you want to see more of this, subscribe and maybe even check out the Fallout London playlist that I have, and I might have more episodes up. Above all else, thank you so much for watching, and remember, mind the gap.